Hi everyone, welcome to Physician in the Kitchen. I'm your host, Dr. Monique, a plant-based, board-certified family physician and founder of the brand Physician in the Kitchen. My passion is helping people discover, cook, and eat delicious plant-based foods because my mission is to fix America's health one plate at a time. Today, we have got a treat for you. We are going to make a plant-based or vegan version of a classic comfort food, chicken Alfredo. But instead of chicken, we'll be using mushrooms. So get ready to enjoy a plant-based version of an old classic. And if you were worried before that you couldn't enjoy it because you've now gone plant-based, fret not, because this recipe will check all the boxes. But before we get into that, be sure to do all the things. Click the like button, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you never miss out on any of our plant power content. Now, we're going to be using plant-based substitutes for the butter and the cream and the cheese, of course, that normally goes into an Alfredo. But as I said, you're still going to have that creamy, luscious, belly-filling experience that you may remember from chicken Alfredo. Now, one of the things I like to share with you are tips and tricks and hacks on how to save time and money in the kitchen. And this recipe really does check those boxes because while you are prepping your ingredients, you can be boiling your pasta water and then cooking your mushrooms, all of that around the same time, so that when those are done, you literally just fold everything into your sauce and you are ready to eat. So let's go ahead and get started. Today's all-star lineup of ingredients is as follows. About a pound of oyster or trumpet mushrooms sliced, about 8 ounces of whole wheat fettuccine, 6 ounces of vegan Parmesan cheese shredded, 1 cup of plant-based milk. Today I'm using soy, 1 tablespoon of plant-based butter divided, dried oregano, fennel, onion powder, nutmeg, and some freshly chopped basil, and some salt and pepper to taste. Okay, so I've already got my water boiling, so we're gonna go ahead and add in our pasta. So this is just some salted water that we're gonna add whole wheat pasta to. And you're gonna just cook this according to the package directions. Because this is whole wheat, this is probably gonna take a little longer than the usual 8 to 10 minutes. So we are going to let this go for about 12 minutes and then check it. So let's set the timer. And while that's cooking, we're gonna go ahead and start our mushrooms. So I've got my large nonstick skillet. We're gonna just heat that over medium heat. And I'm gonna use half of my plant-based butter. So this is about a tablespoon divided. So we're gonna just go ahead and melt half of that. And we're gonna cook our mushrooms. Now, if you wanna do this without any oil, either olive oil or butter, you can just saute your mushroom in whatever you prefer, maybe a little bit of vegetable broth, but you don't wanna steam them. You want them to actually saute. So that's why I'm using an oil, because I do want them to have a nice brown color on them and to bring out their flavor even more. So we're gonna go ahead and add in the mushrooms and a little bit of salt to draw out the moisture. And then we're gonna I'm just making sure these are spread evenly in the pan, and then I'm gonna leave them alone. Resist the temptation to move them a lot, because the more you move food in your skillet, you may think you're cooking it faster, but you're really slowing it down because you're decreasing the time that it actually comes into contact with your heated surface. So sit on your hands if you have to, but back away from the skillet. These are gonna go for about 5 minutes or so. If you want to add any extra seasonings in here, you can. I do like to build my flavors layer by layer. So I'm going to add a little bit of my oregano, my fennel, and my onion powder to my mushrooms. See, I had the spoon. I was ready to go in. But no, I am going to go ahead and give this a quick stir because I added some spices. You can also add some garlic powder in here too, but we are using that roasted garlic, which is going to just give our sauce an extra depth of flavor. So I'm not going to add any garlic right now. Let's go ahead and check on our pasta. Just get that moving around a little bit. Okay, so we're going to just let our mushrooms start to caramelize and brown a little bit, and then we'll check back in. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. Our pasta is coming along nicely. Our mushrooms are starting to shrivel up a little bit, get a nice little bit of color on them. They're releasing some of their liquid. So I'm just really gonna just turn these so everything cooks evenly. So speaking of cooking evenly, that's why it's important that your pieces are roughly about the same size. You don't want too big or too small. You want them all roughly about the same size so everything cooks at the same rate. So our mushrooms are coming along nicely. I like mine a little brown, so I'm cooking them to that color. You don't want them overdone because you don't want them rubbery, but they should be chicken texture. Just give when you bite it, feels good in your to the teeth when you bite down on it. I guess almost like an al dente, like our pasta. So those look good. I'm gonna go ahead and take those off the heat, and our pasta looks good. Now again, this is whole wheat pasta, so I gave it a couple of more minutes, but you cook it to the texture that you like. Keep in mind though that you are gonna cook it a little bit longer in your sauce, so you don't wanna overcook it here. The other thing I love about this recipe is that it is a one pot recipe. Well, technically two, because we're making the pasta in another pot, but we're going to put everything together in this pot. So I'm gonna just move my cooked mushrooms to a bowl. And yes, these do smell delicious. My weekly plug for smell-o-vision is still a thing because these smell good. So I'm just going to remove my pasta, put it in a bowl, and then I'm just gonna turn off the heat and let the pot sit here because I may need some of that water, and I'm gonna just leave it nearby. All right, so we'll move this pot over out the way, but that pasta water's got starch in it from where we cooked the pasta, and it's a nice thickener if we need it for our sauce, or if we want to loosen up our sauce a little bit. So now we're going to go ahead and make our sauce. So we're going to bring this skillet back up to medium heat, add in our other half of that tablespoon of butter, a little more if you like, but we really just want to coat the bottom of our skillet. And then we're going to add in our other ingredients. So I'm using a cup of unsweetened, unflavored soy milk, and we're gonna let this come up to a simmer here. Now I roasted my garlic beforehand, so I'm gonna just take a fork and mash this so I can really almost like dissolve it kind of in the milk. Roasted garlic becomes even sweeter than regular garlic, and it's so soft that you can it's almost like a butter texture or consistency. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in with my milk, add in my seasonings, my oregano, my onion powder, my fennel, and a little bit of nutmeg. Since this is my nonstick skillet, let me use a silicone whisk. That just helps to protect the coating of your nonstick surfaces longer. All right. So that garlic, oh, I love the smell of garlic. Roasted garlic is even more aromatic, if you can imagine. Okay, so we're gonna see this is starting to simmer. We got some bubbles here. So let's go ahead and add in our Parmesan cheese. And we're just gonna melt this cheese to make our sauce. Now, in a traditional Alfredo, you use a heavy cream, but that of course is loaded with fat. We are trying to be healthy over here, so we are skipping that and we're using a plant-based milk. And then I'm gonna just use my same measuring cup that I had for my milk, get a little bit of my pasta water. I'm gonna add that. You can add that in like a couple of tablespoons at a time to see how your sauce starts to look. And turn down my heat, but your sauce should be nice and creamy because you want it, remember, it's gonna be coating our pasta and our mushrooms. So we want it to be almost like a velvety, creamy, luscious sauce. Now, if you've noticed, I have not added any salt because Parmesan cheese has salt in it. So I'm not gonna add any salt until I taste this because we don't want to over salt our food. Oh my goodness. That sauce is perfect. Now, it depends on how you like to serve your pasta. I like everything in one pot, so I'm gonna go ahead and put in my mushrooms, toss them in your sauce, and then let's add in our pasta. You wanna give all your noodles some love here. Let everything come together. And at this point, you're really just kind of warming everything through. If you want to give it a couple of minutes, again, let those noodles come to the texture or consistency that you like, then so be it. Look at the cheesiness, I love it. So if you want, of course, if you want your sauce to be even creamier or thicker, use more Parmesan and less water. You can use more Parmesan, a little bit more milk, but I actually like this consistency. I mean, you can see it's very smooth. It's not thick, and I like it. You know, one of the things about comfort food is it can sometimes, it's good when you're eating it, but then you feel kind of blah because it's so heavy and so filling. So I like the fact that this recipe is filling without it being really weighty. So you can tweak this however you need it to be for your taste, you and your family's taste, but this is how I like mine. All right, let's plate it up. Doctor's orders. There are many different types of plant-based milks available, but the most common ones found on store shelves are almond, soy, coconut, and oat. They all vary in their content of calories, fat, protein, fiber, and carbohydrates. They may also be fortified with different vitamins and minerals, meaning that these nutrients have been added since they are not naturally found in these milks, either at all or in small amounts. Like any processed food, plant milks may contain additives such as thickeners and preservatives to improve consistency and shelf life. With all of the different options available, it's good to know how and when to use each one. Let's look at the nutritional content of some of the more popular plant-based milks. Soy. This is the plant milk that is the most comparable to cow's milk in terms of protein and nutrition. It is high in protein with about 8 grams per cup. Plain soy milk has 80 calories per cup and is naturally low in carbs, but flavored and sweetened versions have more carbs and therefore more calories. Almond. Although almonds themselves are a good source of protein, almond milk is low in protein, carbs, fat, and calories with only 39 calories per cup, and may be fortified with calcium and vitamin D. However, people with tree nut allergies should not drink almond milk. Coconut milk mimics whole milk consistency the most and has 50% more calcium than cow's milk. Like almond milk, it may be fortified with vitamin B12 and vitamin D and contains nearly no protein. Coconuts are high in fat, and the milk contains more saturated fat than other plant-based milk alternatives. Keep this around to use in baking or as a thickener instead of daily use. And be cautious, 1 cup has a whopping 400 to 550 calories. Oat. This creamy milk is high in carbohydrates and fiber and has 120 calories per cup. It is a good substitute for 2% cow's milk in terms of calories, fat, and carbs. Oat milk has the most fiber of the plant milks with about 2 grams per cup. Honorable mentions. Rice milk is low in fat and calories and high in B vitamins. Containing 115 calories per cup, rice milk is an excellent source of calcium and vitamins A, B12, and D, and may be fortified with other vitamins and minerals. It is the least allergenic of all of the milks, but may contain low levels of arsenic. Cashew milk is similar to almond milk in flavor and best for weight loss at only 25 calories per cup because it contains no naturally occurring sugars. Due to its creamy texture, it can be used as a thickener in soups, sauces, or baked goods, and in several commercially produced plant-based yogurts and ice cream. However, people with allergies to nuts should not use cashew milk. Hazelnut. This milk may be the best for energy as it has a lot of B vitamins and is a good source of antioxidants such as vitamin E, protein, calcium, and healthy fats. Hazelnut milk contains 110 calories per cup, but it too should be avoided by people with nut allergies. Due to the availability of milk making machines that make the process easy, it is easier to make plant-based milks at home in as little as 1 minute versus the hassle and mess of using nut bags or cheesecloth to strain the milk. If you are buying commercially produced plant milks, be on the lookout for those containing excessive and hard to pronounce additives and ingredients. And remember, this nutritional info applies only to unsweetened and unflavored milks. As always, see your doctor and dietitian if you have any medical conditions to get specific, personalized recommendations on which, if any, of these milks are right for you. Okay, so now we're gonna add some of our fresh basil. So you're not adding this when it's cooking, you add your basil afterwards because basil is super sensitive and it doesn't need a lot of heat. And we'll give it a couple of twists of pepper, and now it's ready to taste. All right, we are ready to taste our mushroom Alfredo. So this is definitely one of those dishes that you can get to the table in 30 minutes on a busy weeknight. All right, I've got a little piece of my mushroom, I've got some pasta, I've got some basil. Let's give it a taste. This makes me happy because it has all the flavors. You've got the Parmesan cheese, you've got the basil, You've got the right texture of the mushrooms that gives you that meaty texture, and they are perfectly cooked. I mean, perfectly cooked. This is a winner. This is a winner. If you have been wanting to recreate chicken Alfredo, but without chicken, I really think you're gonna love this recipe. So if you make this, please, please, please be sure to tag me at Physician in the Kitchen and let me know how it came out. So for other plant-based inspired recipes, be sure to grab a copy of my book, Doc Fix My Plate, The Physician in the Kitchen's Prescriptions for Your Healthy Meal Makeover. And be sure to share, like, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of this plant-powered positive creations that we are sharing here today. So until next time, I am Dr. Monique, Physician in the Kitchen, telling you to keep it 100. Plant-based, that is. Eat well.